Welcome to the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. This is episode number 479. Today I am sharing 10 things that I've never told you. Now let's dive in. Hey, I'm Taylor Bradford, host of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast presented by Boss Girl Creative. I help small business owners turn their purpose into a paycheck, and it starts with visibility. In the online world, visibility equates to sales. So if you're dreaming of being the next $1 million entrepreneur, you've come to the right place because weekly I share visibility tips, brand advice, and business resources. So grab a notebook, your favorite pen, and a beverage, and let's do the work. Hey, welcome to episode number 479. I'm your host, Taylor Bradford. I so appreciate you being here today because I am doing something hard. I am sharing 10 things that I've never told you. Before I rip off this Band-Aid, let's find out what's been going on in the land of social media. Social media headline number 1, Facebook offers first-time rule violators a way to avoid penalties. Those committing lesser rule violations will have an opportunity to complete in-app training to learn from what could be an honest mistake. Social media headline number 2, Universal Music announces new licensing deal with Meta. The deal will facilitate new music sharing options within Meta's apps. Social media headline number 3, TikTok establishes new deal with Amazon to facilitate in-app purchases. TikTok's still trying to crack the code on in-app shopping. Social media headline number 4, Instagram updates metrics to focus creators on views. For months, Instagram chief Adam Mosseri has been working to convince creators that they should stop worrying about their follower count. Social media headline number 5, Instagram expands carousels to 20 frames. Following tests over the past few months, all users can now add 20 photos to carousel posts. Social media headline number 6, X removes all ads for Premium Plus subscribers. The move will also mean that creators earn less from ad revenue sharing. And finally, LinkedIn will now enable brands to sponsor user-generated newsletters. Over 184,000 newsletters are now hosted in the app, and engagement has risen by 47% per LinkedIn. And that wraps up this week's social media headlines. This week's episode is brought to you by Dubsado. I am going to continue to sing and shout and cheerlead for the brand Dubsado. It is a client relationship management software. Dubsado considers them a business management solution, whichever route you want to think about Dubsado within. It's just a really great tool to utilize in your business. It's a software that helps me stay organized with Sugar Creek. It allows me to manage invoices. I can actually send clients their invoice and they can make payment. I can send contracts for signatures. I can utilize their scheduler. I can set a workflow into action. It's got some really great benefits within the actual software that just helps you stay organized in your business. Can work for both product and service-based businesses. And I've been a customer for over 5 years. When I invested in Dubsado initially, it was just so incredibly life-giving because prior to Dubsado, I was doing everything by hand, which totally sucked. And so I am forever grateful to have stumbled upon Dubsado way back in March of 2019. Actually, I think I stumbled on them in February 2019, and then I quickly signed up during their birthday month in March of 2019. So Dubsado is offering you, my listener, 20% off your first month or your first year of service through them. Pop over to bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado to take advantage of that special offer. Again, it's bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado, and that's spelled D like dog, U like umbrella, B like boy, S like Sam, A like apple, D like dog, O like octopus. bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado. Okay, so let's rip the Band-Aid off. Taylor, here we go. Things I've never said out loud to you, the listener of this podcast. Here we go. Number 1, I am a workaholic. I actually did an Instagram reel on Boss Girl Creative recently. And if you're not following me there, would you please stop this episode really quickly? Just hit that pause button and then pop over to Instagram and then go find me, Boss Girl Creative, and then hit that follow button and then come back and hit pause and continue listening. Okay, I'll wait. Oh man, thank you so much. I so appreciate that. Okay. So I recently did a reel over on Instagram, and I was talking about that the fact that people just don't talk about how hard business can be and the amount of sacrifice that we all do on a daily basis to move our businesses forward or just to continue movement in business in general, regardless of it's forward or backward. Sometimes we have great days and some days we have crappy days, and some days we just, have so-so days. Like today literally was the Mondayest of Mondays in the history of Mondays. And I just kept thinking to myself, what else? What else, universe, am I going to handle today? How much more can I put on my shoulders without breaking? That was my day today. I am a workaholic. I know I'm a workaholic. I actually love to work, but I am a workaholic. I would much rather be working than relaxing. I actually have to make an effort to relax, to do things that are mindless. I do think self-care is so incredibly important, which is why I work really hard at my own self-care. But if I didn't believe in self-care, I would just keep working. And I think it has been just part of my character since I was little. I don't know really where it comes from. Is it learned or is it observed or experienced or a combination? But I am a workaholic. I actually had a conversation with a gentleman who is building a plane that is the same brand that my husband built. And we were talking about working. And my junior and senior year of college, I was pulling 18 hours and I had a job. And my junior year, I was still athletic training. My senior year, I wasn't. I picked up more work. And I had the best GPA doing that. So I know I function in a high stress environment. Whether or not that's good, that's I don't encourage that kind of lifestyle, but I know I function in high stress, in a high stress world. My world just stays in high stress. And for today, as I'm recording this and it's a Monday, I literally laid down. Thankfully, I had some kind of brunch music playing on Pandora, which was very calming. And I just laid there thinking, now this was 5:30, and I laid there thinking, please don't let there be anything else. I don't know that I can handle it. And it was so crazy what just came out of the woodwork today. And it wasn't like anybody was gearing up to make it be today was the day that they were going to fall apart on me or that they were going to have a problem. But I just kept thinking, is it going to, when is it going to end? When am I going to find the joy in today? When am I going to find some gratitude? And I found the gratitude listening to the music, laying down on my couch and taking a moment for myself, watering my plants. I still have an ant problem in one of my containers that has my jalapenos growing. And I tried, knowing I can't put ant poison in my food source, I'm trying to find natural remedies, and diatomaceous earth is one of them, but then it didn't work. Like, I've been using diatomaceous earth after watering. So, because once you water it, you dilute its effect on ants. I mean, it's still sort of effective, but not as effective as if it were dry. And it's getting rid of some of them, but they're not taking it down to the queen and like just, killing the colony out. So I started doing more research and found that borax actually does. They think it's a food source and they will take it to the queen. So I'm like, fingers crossed. I've been dealing with these ants for a while and I'm like, I can't put poison. This is my food source. I am eating these jalapenos. So praying the borax works. You have to be very careful with the amount. Like, plants like it, but they only like so much of it. So you have to be very careful. But it is a food source to ants, or they think it is, and they take it and it just obliterates them, which is what I want to happen, because the diatomaceous earth was surface killing the ants, but not taking out the colony or the queen, and this, domino effect into the colony. And that's what I need, because they're pests and they need to go. So I'm a workaholic. I am a workaholic. My name is Taylor, and I am here because I need help. No, just kidding. I just know that about me, right? I just know that about me, and I don't want to say I wear it like a badge of honor, because I don't think that my world is normal. But also, I know that the sacrifices that I've made and that my husband and I have made are due to the fact that we are workaholics. Like, we see so many people like around us and that even work for us, and they're, they are like antsy to be done at 4:00 or 5:00 right on the money. And then they go blow their time and money on things that really don't do anything. Like, they're very short-lived activities. And I get it. There's a balance between things that bring you joy, that have nothing to do with your bottom line, and, things that make you money. But these people also are in the situations that they are in because of all of these choices. And those choices are to not be workaholics. No, I'm just kidding. That's not it. But my outlook on life is way different, because I am a workaholic, because I am wanting to build a legacy. I'm wanting to build an empire. Like, that is way important to me. And we have set our trajectory to go there, to be there. And it does require being a kind of a workaholic. We have gotten better at like shutting off, because we do realize as we have gotten older that it is much harder to recover, but we are still constantly working. Like, I was up the other night until 1 a.m, partly because I was smoking a turkey, but I was still working. And like, I could keep working, but also sleep really is, back to the self-care talk, sleep is really important to me. I have made that a super priority for myself. And it's legitimately something I'm not willing to sacrifice for, unless like I have a huge deadline or something. And then I will, but then I'm like, where am I making up for that? Because sleep is so incredibly important for me personally. I know people that can go 4 hours and that is like their max sleep time, and that works for them. 8 hours, that's me. 8 hours every night, 8 hours, that's priority. Thing I've never told you before, number 2. I struggle daily with feeling like I'm not good enough. And I have struggled with that for years, that I'm not good enough. That when people reach out to me, or I see other people succeeding, and I'm like, I'm not good enough. I haven't gotten there. I'm not at that level. I like what I can visibly see, which is so stupid. And I know that, but I struggle with it on a daily basis of, why is it not my time? And I'm using air quotes here. Why is it not my time? What does that even mean? I don't even know. But it's a real feeling that I try and work through, or I try to squash down every single day. And it makes me want to cry, because I feel like I have worked my tushy off to get here. And I have built amazing businesses with purpose and intention, and they are successful in what they are and who they are and who they serve. And I'm making killer money because of these purposely aligned intentions in these businesses. And it's like, am I just not good enough for it to be like shared on the world of the internet? Like, I don't know. It's a very real thing for me, and it makes me want to cry. So we're going to stop talking about it right now. But that is thing number 2. Thing I have never told you, number 3, I regret not studying abroad when I was in college. I don't know why it never occurred to me that that was an option, that I actually had that option. Like, I'm so baffled, especially baffled because my mom was an advocate for studying abroad when she was in high school and college. And I don't know why she never had that conversation with me, possibly because we, didn't really have a great relationship for me to have that kind of a conversation. But it never occurred to me to even dream about it. It never occurred to me to be like, oh, I think I can take this summer and go study in France. It never crossed my mind, and it didn't cross my mind until several years outside of college. And I'm like, why did I not? That is so wild to me, but it is a regret that I have that I did not even try to figure out how to do or how to make it work. So I regret not studying abroad. Thing I have never told you, number 4. I don't think I've ever told you this. I never wanted kids by choice. And I feel like this stems from being a babysitter. I feel like most girls do that when they're really young. I don't know how old I was when I first started babysitting. Obviously, I babysitted my brother after school, but to get paid to babysit, I just gotta say, my first babysitting adventure was triplets. And I, without a shadow of a doubt, know that is a huge foundational piece for me regarding kids. Huge. I babysat them from, I feel like they were 1 until about 5. 3 of them. 3 triplets, 3 of them. And they didn't play well with each other, so entertaining 3 of them at once, oh my gosh. Props to mom and dad. These triplets, I have followed, through other people because they went to my church growing up. They are very successful. They're out of college. They are functioning human beings, so I didn't ruin them when they were little. But I have never wanted kids. I have never had a moment where I'm like, should we? I have never had that moment. And I feel like part of it is also I have very little patience, which is coming in at number 8 in just a moment. But yeah, I've never wanted kids. I am grateful my sister-in-law had a kid. We didn't think that was going to be a thing. All of us were like, none of us want kids. And it was a killjoy for my mother-in-law. But my sister-in-law ended up having a child, and he is almost 4 months old. And it is such a blessing to be the cool aunt and uncle. And we're going to be the cool aunt and uncles. So I'm grateful to have the experience of being an aunt. And because my brother passed away when I was 30, so having, somebody directly blood connected to me, I won't have that opportunity, but it's really cool to be an aunt. And I didn't think that it was going to be a title that I was going to have, but I have personally never wanted kids. Number 5, money mindset. Things I've never told you. My money mindset has been messed up, wonky for most of my life. And It is true. So if you haven't had the opportunity to read You Are a Badass at Making Money, Master the Mindset of Wealth by Jen Sincero, I'm going to encourage you to do that because you will not overcome an income barrier without working on your money mindset. And I say that because I live it. And when you don't feel worthy to make anything more than what you're currently making, you will not make anything more than what you're currently making. And a lot of our money mindset issues are rooted in our childhood, and you have to go there. And I have been working on my money mindset for years. I naturally like to be a saver. I naturally like to kind of be a hoarder with money. I will invest in myself in education. I feel it's very important to invest in knowledge or to find somebody that can teach me something I don't know. I feel like I've just been on this spree since this whole social experiment happened, and I continue to buy into things. I'm actually looking forward to spending some time on my upcoming vacation. As you're listening to this episode, I'm probably still on vacation, but I'm recording this prior. And I'm hoping that while I'm on vacation, I can spend time in some of these things that I've been buying lately, because I am on the hunt to see if somebody can teach me things I don't know. And it has all to do with visibility. It has all to do with growing your channels, whether it's through email list building strategies or Instagram growth strategies, even, with podcast related stuff, Pinterest related stuff. I am seeking knowledge, and I just want to make sure that what I'm teaching is still relevant, right? So I am constantly in the learning role, the student role, because I do find it very, very important in order to up-level what it is that I'm doing in my own businesses. So if you haven't worked on your money mindset, or if you don't feel you're worthy of the next level or making, whatever, you do have to work on your money mindset. Your mindset just in general matters so freaking much that if you aren't in alignment with a higher vibrational energy, you won't attract it. And that matters. What you think about, you attract. So if you're thinking positive, you're going to attract more positive. If you're thinking negative, you're going to attract more negative. And going back to speaking about the freaking Monday of the Mondayest of Mondays, it just continued to attract that crap. And I was looking for the joy, looking for how do I get myself out of this? Because I can't stand being in this negative energy. It's a soul suck, and it does not allow me to make progress. And anyway, so my money mindset is still a work in progress, but from my childhood, I am deeply rooted in what I saw and what I experienced and what I learned through my parents and their money issues and their money roadblocks. And yeah, it's so wild how deeply rooted we are with that. If you haven't worked on your money mindset, I'm going to encourage you to do that. You can start with that book. There's a lot of other books out there, but just start. Just start, especially if you want to grow and become more wealthy than you are right now. Just do it. So things I've never told you, my money mindset is still a work in progress, and just even 2 years ago was total crap. So still working on it. Thing I've never told you, number 6, all of the balls are not always in the air. I get so frustrated when I hear, well, I don't know how you do it all. Well, first of all, I don't have kids, and I'm a workaholic, going back to number 1. And so I am able to do a lot of things that most people aren't able to do. If you have a 9-to-5, add kids on top of that, add a spouse on top of that, or a relationship, or add taking care of parents. All of these things I don't have. And so I have more freedom with my time and how I spend it. And my sacrifices are going to be way different than your sacrifices, but all of my balls are not always in the air all the time. They're not. And when I realized I couldn't do it by myself anymore, I am actually at that level with our construction business with Smitty's. but I don't feel like we're right at a point where I can bring somebody on to take some of this off of my plate. Like we're at the cusp, but we're not quite there. So I am going to just continue to do it. But I am at a point where I'm like, I can't do it all. This is hard. And I didn't sign up for this, but I did. So yeah, like all of the balls, whatever you think you see me doing, I am sure there are 10 balls on the ground at any given moment. So do not think that I have it all figured out, because I am a work in progress, just like you are. And you only see snippets, just like I only see snippets of your life. Number 7, the thing I've never told you. I am an introverted extrovert. I know I've shared that. I love a stage and a microphone. I love this podcast. I'm actually sitting in a closet. I've sat in this closet for the entire 9 years, except for the times that I've been on the road and have had to record in very unique places like the bathroom floor. I've recorded underneath beds. I've recorded in other closets. And but mostly this podcast has been recorded in my own guest bedroom closet. I love a stage though, and I love a microphone, but I am so incredibly petrified for one-on-ones when I don't know you, or networking events where I don't know anyone. I am legitimately petrified. I have to put on an extrovert's cape, and I have talked about this. I used to carry one around back in 2013 at Blistum. Go-Go Squeeze had little lunch boxes and had a Go-Go Squeeze cape. And it was the perfect visual for me. And especially as an introvert, I could put on that cape. Not like I did it once for a photo, but like figuratively, I could put on this cape and I could become an extrovert. I can do that naturally with a microphone and a stage. I don't know where that comes from. I do love to perform, but put me in a one-to-one setting in a networking room and I am petrified. Petrified. But once I get to know you and you get to know me, then it's like microphone and stage. It is so wild that I cannot overcome that. Just absolutely petrified. And I have to visualize the dang cape. Okay. Number 8, we're coming to it. I've already said it. Things I've never told you. I'm impatient. Oh my gosh, my patient meter is absurd. I have literally no patience. I do. I have some, but I don't. Because what drives me the most bonkers in the world is lack of action. I don't get it. I don't. If you have goals, you just need to work on them and go after them. Like, don't have the same goal year after year. Like, you're not going to change anything having the same goal year after year. I mean, duh, that should be pretty obvious, right? I am so impatient. I don't know where that comes from outside of I know that I can just make things happen because nobody else is going to do it for me. And that's one of my mottos. Roll out your own red carpet because no one else is going to do that for you. But yeah, my impatience is kind of next level. And I'm a work in progress. I promise I'm a work in progress. But yeah, I have my impatience level. I need to continue working on that. Things I've never told you, number 9. This is what is so wild to me. I don't think I've ever actually said this out loud on the podcast. I know I've had conversations with people about it, with like my Sugar Creek journey. I will never, ever, ever in a million years share my first wedding that I was hired to be a designer for. Y'all, it was so embarrassing. So embarrassing. But I was so proud of it back then because it was my first. And I was so proud that I got to design it for this couple. And they loved it. Don't get me wrong. They loved it. We were in alignment together. Like my skill level then matched their expectations. So all is right in the world. But oh my gosh, it was bad. And what I find interesting about this is that you can be taught how to be creative. You can learn how to be creative. You can hone the skill of being creative. It is not something you're just born with and you either have it or you don't. You can nurture it, you can guide it, you can support it, you can work on it. And now I'm at a point where all I need is a thread. I need a sliver of a thread and I can pull a design from the thread. I just did one. If you pop over to Sugar Creek, look for the woodland inspired academia tabletop. I have been trying to produce more content with my farm tables and my brand new bentwood chairs, but also showcasing our stoneware, which does not go out very often. My ivory stoneware goes out a lot because I've had that in my collection for several years at this point, but I added colors to try and spark people to want colored stoneware. And I'm one of the few in my market that has stoneware because it is much harder to take care of. It's much harder to transport, but it's beautiful and nobody else has it. So it's a win-win for me. And like I said, my ivory goes out a lot, but my colors don't. And so I'm trying to intentionally create content to showcase how my stoneware can be used, which means I'm constantly trying to come up with ideas that I haven't done before for my farms. And I had this concept. So I bought these pleated lampshades. They're cordless lamp. They're beautiful. They sit on tables. You can put it on a side table if you wanted. They're not big. They make perfect accents to dinner tablescapes. So I bought them in the most recent Prime Day sale, and I have been wanting to showcase them. And so I got them on a table. I did a really pretty and pink kind of French vibe and fell in love with that. And I just started staring at them thinking, oh my gosh, I could totally turn this into a library vibe. And I just started going this is how my brain rolls. It was the pleated lampshade that got me into the library. And then I see a big library table full of books. And then I'm like, oh my gosh, we can totally make this, more woodland feeling. These little tiny creatures came out and wanted to be a part of all of this. So woodland inspired academia tablescape. You can go find it on Sugar Creek Instagram. We may have blogged it by the time you hear this. It's definitely out on Pinterest. So, and it's out on the House of Sugar Creek YouTube. I did a short as well. But it just takes a thread. All that to say, that was long-winded. All that to say, I taught myself how to be a designer. I taught myself how to be creative. I wasn't just intrinsically born with it. I had to hone it. I had to develop it. I had to also believe in myself that I could get better, that I could do it. And man, practice makes perfect when it comes to being a creative. And I'm so grateful that I took a chance on myself with that first client, even though I will never share those photos ever. It's so bad. But I had to start somewhere, and you have to start somewhere. And I've never shared that I taught myself how to be creative. And last but not least, this is a doozy of an episode. Things I've never told you. The last thing I've never told you. I so badly want to make it. And I don't even know if I've defined what that means, other than I want to explode on Instagram and YouTube and this podcast. I so badly want to make it, and it goes back to number 2, that I feel like I'm not good enough, which is why I've been stuck, because I don't believe in myself enough that I am good enough, but I so badly want to make it, but obviously not bad enough, because here we are. And it's so frustrating to pick yourself apart. It's heartbreaking to pick yourself apart. It's heartbreaking to know how hard you work to show up, especially on this podcast, to show up for 9 years straight and never miss an episode. It's hard to know how intentional you are in everything else that you do, and you're wildly successful in everything else that you do but this. And you just wonder, is this the swan song? Is this effort that you find, that you create, that you do every single week, is it really not hitting the mark? This is the biggest one of all the things that I have never said, that I've never told you. This is the doozy for me. I so badly want to make it, and I don't know why I haven't. And I feel like, and I've said this to people in my close orbit, I feel like it comes down to relatability, because I'm not relatable. There's not a whole lot in my life that is relatable. I am a unicorn, and sometimes that unicorn status is not fun. I don't have kids, so I can't talk about those kinds of things. I don't have animals, so I can't talk about those kind of things. I don't have body issues, so I can't talk about those things. And you don't really want to hear me wax poetic about Sugar Creek or Smitty's and their successes, because that just sounds like I'm tooting my own horn all the time. But I'm so proud of those successes. But again, it's a unicorn. And it makes it really hard for me, wanting it so badly, but obviously not bad enough that I haven't figured it out. In 9 years, I haven't figured it out. And I feel like I keep making pivots. I feel like I audit all the time. And I don't know what I'm missing. And I can't tell you how many coaches I've hired. And nobody sees it. Oh, you just need something to take off. Oh, you need to do this. I have done all of those things. I was going through my Google Docs, trying to see, because I'm working on making updates to Boss Girl Creative's website and my freebies, because I'm really pushing hard to grow my email list. And I've got some really fabulous freebies for you. I have a morning routine that is actually a 30-day challenge. If you struggle with having an intentional, purposeful morning routine, I've got that. I've got visibility tips for you to help you get more visible. And I know I'm saying this, and here you are hearing me say I so badly want to make it, and I haven't been able to do that, but I've been able to do that in my other businesses, and I'm like, why can I not make that happen for Boss Girl Creative? I've made it happen in other endeavors, and I cannot make it happen with this one. Why? And I feel like it's me. And I don't know if I'm ever going to come to terms with that. I have so much passion for this. And I know I'm okay with it helping one individual. I would be okay for the rest of my life having helped one person. Like having somebody reply to an email or leave a comment on an Instagram reel or reply to my stories, like legitimately makes my day. And I know that's what I'm doing this for, but at the end of the day, I'm also like, WTF? And I battle that daily. Why am I not good enough? Why have I not made it? And there you have it. 10 things that I have never told you. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I know it was a different kind of episode, so if you made it this far, oh my gosh, you are my people, or you are my person if it's just one of you. Again, shout out to Dubsado if you'd like to take advantage of that 20% discount for my listeners. bossgirlcreative.com/Dubsado. It's 20% off your first month or your first year. Don't miss out. And until next time, I hope you have a great rest of the week. Hey, real quick before I go, I wanted to pop back in and say again, thank you so much for listening to this latest episode of the Purposely Aligned Entrepreneur Podcast. I would so love a favor from you right now. Would you please share this episode with a friend or share it to your social media and tag me at Boss Girl Creative? Oh my gosh, that would mean so much to me if you did that right now. Okay, I'll see you next week with a brand new episode.